It's termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control.
Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue.
Run for your life.
Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576, or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about.
Welcome to Inside Track with Bruce Ash and Eb Wilkinson on the Live the Dream Media Network.
All right. Hello, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon. I do this all the time because it's like, crazy.
Take two?
Just by accident here. And a very pleasant good morning to you wherever you may be. Welcome to episode 34 of Inside Track. Bruce Ash.
Eb Wilkinson.
And
Bunker Defrance.
Welcoming you to our annual predictions and prognostication show as we look back and forward to see what we got right and what we got wrong in 2025, as well as our predictions looking forward in 26. But before that,
Hey, 2026 got off to a big bang on January 3rd. And if the start of the year is any indication, this may be a very interesting year. Before we get to our predictions in just a few moments, Mike Brest from the Washington Examiner will join us to bring us up to date on the latest breaking news from Venezuela, on their new government, and the mood on the street there. Thanks for joining us today on Live the Dream Media app or watching us on Facebook, X, YouTube, and the other platforms. Bruce and I will be reviewing our 2025 picks, see which one of us had a better crystal ball, and we're going to make our predictions for 2026. Hopefully, Bruce will do better than he did in the past couple of years, and hopefully I will too. The first half of this show brought to you by our good friend Eric Rudin from Essential Pest. They are great. Call them to keep your home or business free from all sorts of insects, vermin, and weeds today at 886-3029. Bruce?
hey, let's go ahead and just get right to Michael Brest.
Okay, Michael Brest from Washington Examiner joins us today for a few moments to get the inside track on what's happening in Venezuela since Saturday's sudden events leading to the removal and arrest of Nicolas Maduro and his co-conspirator wife, Celia Flores. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Having me.
Hey, last Friday, everyone was trying to digest Zoran Mondami's audacious speak extolling the virtues of warmth of collectivism, and then Saturday morning we woke up to a snatch and grab of Venezuela's dictator to face justice in New York City. Initially, Maduro's number two, communist Celia Rodriguez, talked smack over the weekend against the removal of Maduro, but she's been sworn in and is being thought of as a workable intermediary for America's expectations. What can we expect from her?
So it really is, we're sort of in the trial period right now where the U.S. is trying to feel out exactly how much of a willing partner they have with her and the rest of what is still the Maduro government sans Maduro. And so the administration has said that they have specific demands that they want to see met by the Venezuelan government to ensure that uh, they can work together. And so a big part of the conversation is about Venezuelan oil. And so even more recently, earlier today, the U.S. forces seized two different vessels linked to Venezuelan oil. One was in the Caribbean Sea and the other was in the North Atlantic closer to Europe. And so these two operations that happened within the last several hours just further demonstrates the broad mission that the U.S. is now trying to carry out in Venezuela. And so at some points they talked about drug boats, at some points they talked about Nicolas Maduro himself, but really it seems like a big part of the equation that the Trump administration is focusing on is about oil and about possible revenue from that oil.
So how far is the U.S. prepared to go if economic sanctions don't work?
That's the million-dollar question. And so before a week ago, there were a lot of people who did not believe that the Trump administration would be willing to carry out such a daring rendition of Maduro and his wife. And so the president has shown time and time again that he is willing to authorize very dramatic actions that the military can carry out. And so the president has said he is not ruling out a situation where the U.S. would put boots on the ground in Venezuela. Now, I think we're a far ways from that at this exact moment, but it's something that the president has said is on the table. And as a result, I think it's something that has to be considered as a possibility.
Hey, Mike, Bruce Ash here. One of the cringeworthy moments in the president's press conference the other day on Saturday after the snatch and grab was that the United States would be running Venezuela. With Ms. Rodriguez in the role now as chief executive, isn't it really true that we've gone away from the Iraq model where everybody was dismissed, everybody went to jail, everybody was fired, and the nation ended up in chaos pretty quickly?
I think you bring up a good point, which is the distinction there between taking just Maduro as opposed to trying taking and arresting several other of his top lieutenants and officials. That being said, it's still too early to tell, I would say, about just how willing the Maduro regime without Maduro is as in terms of being a willing partner to the United States, because the U.S. and Venezuela has had bad relations for decades now. Nicolas Maduro was in power for more than 10 years. And so there really was a very limited positive cooperation between the two countries. And so at this point, even though Maduro is gone, the rest of his senior officials and lieutenants are still in charge. And so it's unclear if they are going to be willing to change so much of what has been a part of their governance style to acquiesce to the president and his administration's demands.
So, Michael, we've seen the protests in the United States against the capture of Maduro, with the Venezuelans in the United States cheering the capture on and being told, oh, no, you're wrong, you don't understand. What do we know about the mood in the street in Venezuela right now?
So I think a lot of what's going on right now is everything is very tenuous. And so the president has talked about additional operations if current regime officials are not willing to cooperate. And so I think there's optimism for a new future, but still concern about how exactly they get there, what it looks like, and what role the government that had been oppressive still will play in that.
Michael, before we let you go, and I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day for us, where do you think the administration's temperance is going to? How long is that going to go on before they might make radical moves? And what do you think those moves might be? Any predictions? Any thoughts that others in Washington might have talked about recently?
So I don't want to give exact predictions, but what I will say is the president has highlighted both Colombia as well as Cuba and Mexico as three different countries in Latin or South America that they or that he says are not operating or cooperating with the U.S. or U.S. interests in the region. And so all three are slightly different examples, or would go about slightly differently. In terms of Mexico, that's the one country where the U.S. does have a positive relationship with the government there. However, it's the president's opinion that Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is not doing enough, or is not able to do enough to combat the cartels in Mexico. And the cartels in Mexico are a big deal because that's where an overwhelming majority of the fentanyl that comes into the United States comes from. And it comes through Mexico from actually Chinese companies that will send them the precursors, chemicals that become fentanyl. And so that's Mexico. In terms of Cuba, they rely so heavily on Venezuelan oil that President Trump has said he believes the Cuban government is already in trouble once they start feeling the effects of the U.S. oil blockade on Venezuela, because that will negatively impact the amount of oil Cuba can get from them. And then when it turns to Colombia, Colombia is one of the primary producers of cocaine, which also then goes through Venezuela and often either to the United States or to Europe. And so the president has shared insults with the Colombian president back and forth for several weeks now, dating back to the start of the drug boat campaign. And so the thing that's different from those three entities as opposed to what we saw in Venezuela is the administration called the mission to arrest Nicolas Maduro a law enforcement mission because he is under U.S. indictment.
Right.
At this exact moment, no one in the governments of Cuba, Colombia, or Mexico have such indictments against them. So should the president decide to do one of those actions, it would likely be considered an act of war, may require additional congressional approval. And so it's unclear exactly how the president would navigate some of those, I would say, more legal conversations about such actions. But I think the administration has been very public in their comments about trying to focus the military's attention in America's own backyard, which is Central and South America. And so I think that's really the area we should be focusing on.
Mike Brest, thanks very much for joining us today. You can find Mike at WashingtonExaminer.com. This is a great place to get your news and views. Best wishes to you, Mike, in 2026. Hope to hear again from you soon.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Eb and Bunker, we decided not to devote a full show to our passings. So let's get, and we kind of had a little bit of a diversion here with the opportunity to get Mike Brest from the Washington Examiner with us to talk about the business going on in
Venezuela.
In Venezuela. So let's get to our predictions, okay? Okay, so we went, boy, when we were on the radio, we did probably an hour and a half on these. We're trying to condense it down a little bit. We usually start with the Dow, partly because Eb is a bit of a financial wizard, and as always, we had the Dow started at about $42,500. I had predicted it would be at 42,000, Eb at 47,000. But really, it turns out that both of us were right. But Eb was the closest.
Woohoo!
NASDAQ. Okay, so it closed on December 31st at 19,310. And on this one, by fluke, Bruce was more accurate at 23,000. I can't really say it's a victory, but I had predicted 22,000. Eb, on the 10-year treasuries, where were we at?
What were we at? We were at 4.2?
Well, we closed the year at 4.57% in 2024.
Right.
You had predicted 3.1%, me 3.5%. It is, or at least as of the other day, was 4.15%.
Yeah, you're the closest.
No, I mean, it's really, we're both off. I mean, when you look at it. Inflation.
So inflation was 2.7?
Inflation was 2.7 last year.
Right.
Okay, and you had predicted 3%, me at 2.5%. You were the closest on this one at 3%. So did a pretty good job on that. And actually, that is big news for us in America.
It's huge news
to get that under control, because
Yes.
it's just it really just makes people feel good about running their household, and they feel more in control.
Absolutely.
Okay, new question coming up, and we did not do this before. So I think the GDP in the third quarter grew at a yearly rate of 4.3%. Okay, annualized. Where do you think, Eb? Where do you think we're going to be in 2026?
Man,
That's a hard thing.
That's a hard way.
Because it was a good year,
right? But it's harder now after Saturday.
Right.
With what's going on, I think it's still going to be high. 4.5.
4.5%. You have any gander on that?
Well, I'm kind of thinking, I'm looking at the oil thing, and if that brings oil prices down, hopefully it brings transportation costs down for businesses, for everything.
People buying more stuff,
might,
too.
Yeah, so it might actually increase your dollar again.
Well, I'd say I'm not quite as optimistic as Eb. I'm going to say more like about 3.8% growth, because I think it's hard to sustain something over 4% over a period of time. I hope I'm wrong, though.
And it also depends on what the Fed does.
That's true. That's true.
When you get oil prices down, as Bunker said, transportation costs go down, which means the costs added onto your goods and services go down to include food,
right?
Which is big.
Well, we'll see. Oil. Last year, 2024, oil closed at $71.72. We had predicted it, Eb at $75 a barrel, me at $78 a barrel. Eb was the big winner here. Oil closed on December 31st at $57.42. And with everything that's happened in Venezuela, it's still in that $57, $58 range today, but there's a long time to go. So Eb was closer on oil costs, barrel oil costs. Tesla, in 2024, Tesla closed at $403.84. This year, it closed at $453, despite falling sales. And now the Chinese manufacturer, was it BDP?
Yes.
Or BVP?
BVP.
They've surpassed the sales of Tesla for the first time in electric vehicles. I had predicted 400, Eb at 480, and again, both of us were off a bit here. I think probably I would give it to Eb, though, because I think his really was closer to the deal.
I think there's an interesting thing happening with Ford. They've shut down their electric battery department, and they're going into regular batteries, which to me says they're cutting back on electric vehicles.
Oh, they've stopped building the F-150
The
Lightning.
150, yes.
I think the only one that they have still is that Mustang Mach 3. Eb, how about Meta?
So Meta closed at $585
in 24.
In 24. Let's see. One of us predicted 250. One of us predicted 275.
No. You had predicted 720.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I predicted 700.
Oh, Meta. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. And where to close?
662. So I think I was a little closer on
You were.
that one. The next one, gasoline. That's a big one. How much? What was the price that you paid last time you filled up?
I filled up yesterday, $2.25 a gallon.
With regular, right?
With regular.
So I haven't filled up yet this year. Oh, that's not true. I filled up, but I filled up in Arkansas, and I paid $2.12.
Wow, for premium or for
regular?
Wow, that's a good price.
Yeah,
I think the Quick Trip and Costco is selling it for like $2.14. $2.19 is officially where that ended at the end of the year last year. We always do T-bone steaks. because on a per pound basis, in 2024 they closed the pricing on a Kroger advertisement in the newspaper was $16.52 a pound, and this is where really both of us were off big on this one. I had predicted $14.50 and Eb at $13.50. T-bone steak at Kroger, December 31st flyer, $20.99. And this is what really is killing consumers. The cost of meat has gone up so much, chicken and fish and so on. That's a big number, and hopefully it's not going to take as long as we think to get beef prices down with the disease and the different things that are going on. Was it the screwworm in Mexico? Is that what was killing cattle?
Yeah.
But the thing is that people forget, when they look at the beef price or chicken price, hog price, is they're not looking at what the farmer or the rancher is getting. They're looking at what all the middlemen have added on.
Yeah, because it's the producers that are really getting hosed along with the consumers here.
The ranchers,
the middlemen are doing okay.
Yeah, they're getting slaughtered.
Yeah. Bitcoin, this is Eb's favorite.
Oh, my God.
So last year in 2024, Bitcoin closed at $96,090. Now, interestingly enough, Eb had predicted Bitcoin was going to be zero at the end of 24. But this year, Eb had predicted 65,000. I predicted 95,000. We were both off 87,138. And I think yesterday it was like about $93,000 for Bitcoin.
And today it is 91,600.
Don't you think that's bubble money, though?
Absolutely it is. There's nothing behind it.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing behind it at all. If you're using the blockchain technology and Bitcoin to move money from here to there, wherever there is, that's one thing. But there's nothing supporting it. I mean, at least in the tulip bulb crisis, in the Dutch tulip bulb crisis, you actually had a tulip bulb.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here you've got nothing.
Right. It's you're banking on hope.
There's no treasury.
Or on fear, and there's no treasury. Right.
Yeah.
It's in a server someplace.
Right.
Ironically, did we not do a gold prediction last year?
I don't think we did.
Could any of us have ever predicted the increase in gold that occurred in 2025?
Not at all.
I mean, we went from 2,800 to as high as high 4,400s or low 4,500s. Where's it?
44.56 today.
Yeah, and that only.
I never would have thought that.
You think that could be a bubble too, somewhere down the line?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing that people don't get or remember about gold keeps pace with inflation historically. And so what an ounce of gold would buy 500 years ago or 100 years ago up until this recent bubble is the same thing that an ounce of gold would buy today. So, my view, gold's probably $1,500 to $2,000 too high right now.
So where do you think it's going to be at the end of this year?
Well, I'm hoping the economy makes it so that gold is probably around 3,000.
That's going to upset a lot of gold investors.
Well, remember, I'm not against precious metals. It should be brass, copper, lead in the easy-to-carry cylinders.
And a copper penny.
that have gunpowder in them and a primer.
Thank you, Tony.
I like that.
Eb, Bunker, how about you? Where do you think gold's going to finish this upcoming year?
I think it's going to climb up to a certain point, and then it's going to drop back, and then I think it's going to finally kind of stabilize for a while, because I really believe that, the bottom line is, if I got a pound of gold in my pocket, and it's apocalypse, and I go up to you and I say, Bruce, I want to buy that can of beans. And you say, what do you got? I got a pound of gold. No, what have you got? Something I can use, because you won't be able to use it. It's just a pretty piece of metal.
Absolutely. Bunker gets it.
Yeah, I've always wondered about, so if I had that pound of gold in my pocket and things were really, if it was the world was ending, wouldn't that guy want the entire pound of gold for that can of beans? So how much is it really
What's he
worth?
going to spend it on?
Look, if Bunker says instead, and you say, what have you got, Bunker? And he says, I've got 10 rounds of 22, great, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because I can go get something with that. I can get a rabbit, I can get a squirrel.
You can defend yourself.
You can defend yourself.
All right, so where do we think you're saying $3,000?
I'm saying 3,000.
Wow. I would say probably somewhere around 37 and dropping back maybe at the end of the year or in 27.
All right. I'm gonna say $3,500. Okay, we did some easier predictions. Super Bowl champs. We both missed last year. We called it for the Chiefs and the Lions. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Man,
do you even know who's in the playoffs?
Who is in the play? Is Kansas City in the playoffs?
No.
Okay, so there goes that. Who's in the playoffs?
Well, Los Angeles is in. San Francisco's in, I think. Minnesota's in. Pick a team.
Minnesota.
I got to go with Minnesota because I don't like California.
I'm gonna pick the Rams. All right. Final Four winner. We were both off last year. We had predicted Florida. Our team at the U of A is now 14-1 or 14-0 or 13-0. We play Kansas tonight at 7:00. Who's going to win the NCAA men's basketball?
I hate to do this only because I don't want to jinx anything. I got to go with Arizona.
I really was hoping you'd say Purdue.
Well, I would, but I don't think they have a chance.
Okay. Purdue is Eb's prediction?
Purdue? Oh, I'm going to go with the U of A just because they seem to get snake bit so many years right at the finish. And I think this year they're going to escape the snake.
Oh, sentimental. For me, it's got to be the U of A. Our last championship was in 1997. This would be a nice way for Tommy Lloyd to finish out the season as a winner. Both Eb and I were right on World Series last year. We both picked the Dodgers. I'm picking the Dodgers again. Fellas, where are you at? Is it going to be a three-peat, or we're going to see a new champion?
I got to go with the Dodgers again. I don't want to, but I got to go with the Dodgers again.
Yeah, I've hated the Dodgers since they left Brooklyn, but I've got to go with them again.
All right. Well, I'm gonna change my prognostication. The Toronto Blue Jays. They are a very good team. They've picked up some additional strength since the end of the last season. They're well managed, well coached, and it could have been a much different end to that World Series if not for two different plays or so along the way.
And what a great game it was.
It really was.
But isn't that what makes the World Series the World Series? Those great plays?
But some are just duds, Oh, yeah. It's like there's a team that is way outclasses the other team, and, nothing good ever comes of that.
That's like the 4-game series.
Yeah. I mean, San Diego, all these people in San Diego who've been in the World Series, and they haven't won a game ever in the World Series. They've been in one World Series, haven't won a game. Trying to say, Dodgers, you're not very good, or Yankees, you're not very good. These are really good teams that played in this last World Series.
Well, don't you think too, though, that the World Series to me has gotten to be a pitcher's game more than a hitter's game?
Yes, because good pitching will stop good hitting. And there was some awfully good pitching in this World Series, although there were a couple of out-of-control games that existed. Hey, it's at the bottom of the hour. Let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our advertisers. We'll be right back with Bunker and Eb, and this is our 2026 prediction show on Inside Track.
You're listening to Inside Track with Bruce Ash on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now a word from our sponsor.
It's termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control.
Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue.
Run for your life.
Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576. Or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about.
Welcome back to Inside Track with Bruce Ash on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now back to our show.
Welcome back to Inside Track. It's our predictions show. Well, we got a fair amount of predictions done, and there may be a couple here we need to go back on and tweak later on. Our next category is Oscar Best Picture. Eb and I haven't picked anything even remotely close. And last year, Eb had picked Oppenheimer. I had picked,
Which was a great film.
A Complete Unknown, the one about Bob Dylan, and a movie called Enora that I didn't see and I wouldn't go see. Won the thing. Bunker, you have a prediction on the Best Picture this year?
Not necessarily the Best Picture because I haven't followed it that close, but I do have a prediction on Best Actor.
Okay.
And that's Dwayne Johnson. He's like a really, really dark horse coming out from the dead end of the pack. But his performance in The Wrecking Machine, you're not looking at Dwayne Johnson. You're looking at a mixed martial arts guy that was a real guy. He doesn't look like Dwayne Johnson. He doesn't act like The Rock. This is a remarkable performance.
All right. Dwayne Johnson, Smashing Machine. Eb?
I'm going to go with the latest Avatar movie. Not that I think it's great, but everybody else does, for whatever reason.
Okay.
I have a counter prediction on that.
Okay.
And that is, it seems like the movie that makes the most money never wins anything. Well, there's exceptions, but overall, and that's the top moneymaker of the year.
All right. So,
and Bruce?
The Associated Press and the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times have talked about a film called One Battle After Another, I think it's called, with Leonardo DiCaprio. This thing is a training movie for Antifa. Okay, it is the worst movie I've ever seen. Okay,
It's a sure winner.
I knew it was going to be a loser. And I couldn't walk out of the movie house because I was with other people, and that would have created some problems. I think for me anyway, the best picture I saw was something that just came out over Christmas called Song Sung Blue.
I'm not familiar.
It was about a Neil Diamond cover act. That was actually
I saw the ads for that.
That was actually based
That
on a
looked
real
great.
story. It was a sweet movie. Kate Hudson was the female star.
Is that Hugh Jackman?
And Hugh Jackman was played Neil Diamond, and it was a sweet movie.
Now, he's also a runner, I think, for Best Actor.
Yeah, could be.
So I was not a Hugh Jackman fan until I saw The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
And he killed it in that. It was incredible.
Music is his forte.
He's a very good singer.
And dancer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was very, very interesting. Okay, we skipped over one of these by mistake. U.S. Open. Your pick again?
I got to go with Rory.
I'm
going to have to putt on this one.
I'm going with Scotty Scheffler again.
You're going with Scotty again.
I think it's a tough deal. Okay, so
what about J.J. Spawn, the guy that came out of nowhere?
No, not happening.
Dark horse.
All right, yeah, very dark horse, I think. So both Ab and I picked Trump to win the 2024 election. I guess the question this year should be: will Republicans continue to control the U.S. House?
Yes.
Yes?
I think so.
Yes, and yes.
And we just had another Republican die.
Well, yesterday. There's another one in the hospital. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she resigned 2 days ago. It's
who's in the hospital?
It's a House member from Indiana. He was in a car accident, and he's stable, I guess. But
well, this is the thing. I think if you look at the bullpen for the Democrats and the Republicans have got a really deep bullpen.
Sure.
The Democrats, they can't even find the bullpen.
They're all a bunch of communists. All right, so new question: will the U.S. be successful in developing a working relationship with the Danes in Greenland for military assistance and resources?
Yikes.
Man. I want to say yes, but I got to say no.
No?
I'm like, yeah. I think something is going to come out of this, but I don't think it'll be U.S. The new state of Greenland. I think
I'm not saying I'm not asking if it's going to become a state or a territory, just whether or not we're going to have an agreement with.
I think we'll have a much stronger relationship with them, and maybe a more military establishment up there. A super base.
We have one already, but
a super base.
But the northern passage has become a huge issue.
It's the shortest route to America.
With the Russians and with the Chinese. And this is going to become, we talked about it on the show just a little while ago, it's going to be a huge problem if we don't have some sort of availability, further availability in Greenland.
Let me throw a wrench in that.
Okay.
How do you think our relationships with Canada is going to be in regards to that?
Well, they just threw out the ambassador.
Yeah.
Our ambassador?
Yes.
All right. I would say it's not going to be very good.
And that happened yesterday, I believe.
You know what? If push came to shove, the Canadians are going to come around.
They're Americans with an A on the end of their questions.
Right. All right. So I think there will be a working relationship. You've said yes on a working relationship, or
I don't think we're going to have one.
And Bunker's
a developing relationship.
Okay, all right. Hurricanes. So in 2024, there were 18. Last year, Eb and I made our predictions. Eb predicted 5. I predicted 12. Eb was right on the nose at 5. That's amazing. This is the lowest number of hurricanes we've had in many, many years. Good picking. What do we think for 2026?
I don't think there'll be any hurricanes in Arizona.
Okay, wise ass. How about hitting the continental United States?
8 or 9.
8 or 9, which one?
Okay. I'm going to go for 9. I'm going to go for the big one.
All right. I hope there's not.
I'm going for 6.
6?
6.
Okay. So 9, 6, and I'm going to say 10. I think
There's
Did 12 last year.
I know I did, but I think that the weather has been changing. A lot more rain. The winters the winters are shorter. The summers were longer. The fall and the springs were different. I have a feeling these numbers are going to change around.
I have a prediction that's off the wall.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be more volcanic action this year.
Oh yeah, no question. That's
absolutely.
And I think that's going to have a major effect on the weather, possibly a cooling effect.
That's a great point. There has been unbelievable seismic activity all around the globe, and particularly underneath the ocean.
Yes.
And these are huge things. That's a great point that you just made.
See, people
Thank you.
forget in the Middle Ages, Krakatoa exploded, and Europe went into a mini ice age.
Right. No, that's a great point. That's going to be part of when I do my recording here of our answers. We're going to definitely add that. Nukes used. I said last year yes. You said no. Obviously, there were none used. What about 2026?
I'm still saying no.
I'm saying no, but I think there'll be a lot more rattling.
Okay, I think we're all no's on that, and I think Bunker's point's very good. Ukraine war, Eb and I both felt it would be over.
So much for that.
We didn't do so good on that. Will there be peace in Ukraine by the end of this year?
Yes.
It depends on Putin.
And
I don't think, as long as Putin is in power, I don't think there'll be an end.
Okay, good point. I'm with you, Bunker. Israel war, over. We both said yes. I'm going to say it's yes with an asterisk, because there's still some fighting going on, some fighting back and forth. I
think that's going to continue, the skirmishes.
So
I don't think there's going to be.
So we're not going to get to that next phase where the bad guys put their weapons down?
Not yet. I can't see that yet.
Okay, so no on stage 2.
I think as long as Hamas is able to sneak out of the closet, there'll be no peace.
Hamas coming out of the closet.
I think we're all in agreement on that. So it's a no all around. Major attack on the United States. Last year there was only one terror attack on the U.S. It was on New Year's Day in New Orleans, and that was the only one. Are we going to have any terrorist attacks in America this year? Okay. We won't have the number. I mean, we don't have to predict the number, but you think we will have a terror attack?
Yeah, look, we've had so many Chinese, so many Russians, so many Hamas terrorists. They didn't sneak into this country. They were welcomed with open arms by Biden, given a plane ticket, a bunch of cash.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that what Tom Homan is doing right now is really helpful, but you still have these people that have snuck in and integrated into the Chinese societies. And,
So, yes.
I think probably what's going to happen is we're going to see a very strong chance, because they tried a lot of times last year. They were just very successful in stopping them.
Numbers of them were foiled.
Yeah. Number of attempts.
But this is a factor that we haven't talked about, and that is the narco. I think that there's going to be maybe small attacks, but I think narco is going to be a problem on security and attacks, because of what we're doing. And we're putting so much pressure on them, and their mentality, they're like a third world country. And their mentality is, you affect my trade, I'm going to shoot you. If you look at the marijuana trade in this country, it's controlled by the Chinese by about 90%.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and it runs California.
I'm in agreement with you. In fact, I'll tell you where I think it's going to come to. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. I think either the White House or the U.S. Congress. Mm-hmm. Those buildings are going to get hit.
Possibly a long shot is the Supreme Court.
They don't care what
but that's going to be American.
That could be.
Okay, that's a good point.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yes.
Aliens. Are we going to have definitive proof of aliens in 2026?
Not
'Cause we
since
kinda-
they sealed the border.
Exactly.
Outer space aliens,
No.
smartass.
No.
Okay, no.
I haven't seen anybody beaming down, so I've got to say no.
I'm going to say yes because if you watched this recent thing, I think something exposure.
Northern exposure?
No, it was something else. I can't remember. It was
Southern
on Prime.
exposure.
But it was very, very interesting, and I think that we're finally going to see it.
Okay, so wait, hang on. To that end, are we talking about little green men? Or are we talking about some form of protoplasmic life?
Or possibly mechanical.
Take your pick.
AI.
Take your pick. Well, that's conceived here.
Yeah. Is it?
By the way, another great Christmas show I watched, Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh, that had some great moments in there. The best thing in that movie
Was the ending?
Well, no. It was the old rancher, Harrison Ford.
Yes.
He was like what the old ranchers were like. He was a curmudgeon.
Yes.
All right. So I'm saying aliens, yes. You guys are saying no, I think, correct?
I'm saying no.
Okay. JFK files completely opened and with no deletions, no redactions?
There's got to be redactions.
Never.
I think we're all three right on that. No. Bigfoot. Are we gonna actually find Bigfoot?
Not since she is retiring from Congress.
Well, I think Sasquatch is probably some redneck that's got a fascination with deceiving people.
All right, so you're saying yes or no?
Oh, that sounds like a no to me.
Okay.
No.
I think we're all no on that one. Amelia Earhart, will we find her remains?
Man, I don't know that we'll find her remains, but I think we'll find her plane.
Okay,
I thought
and I'd be satisfied with that as a outcome.
there's a guy he can't get the financing, but he's found what he thinks is the plane.
Yeah, but
But that's like I got a gold mine. Will you finance the expedition?
that's been disputed. Okay, Tucson murders, higher or lower? Ebb?
Lower.
Lower for Ebb?
Way higher.
Way higher, and I'm saying higher as well. Tucson median home prices, higher or lower? Ebb?
I'm going to say lower, only because I'm hoping that interest rates will continue to come down.
If interest rates come down, there's going to be more sales going on, and the demand will go up.
Well, you said the median price. I think it's going down.
All right, Ebb's it down.
I think it's going to go up because not much, but it's going to go up just because of what you said. Because it's they're out where I live, they've already started a project on Anklin. I couldn't believe, and I've never seen a housing project where at the end of the project the houses were so cheap you could rush in there and buy them.
So higher. I'm higher as well. I don't think we're going to see home prices. You'll see rents lower, I believe.
Oh,
Okay.
God, I hope so. I don't believe so, but
I think that home prices will go up. I'm hoping as a real estate person, it all goes up. Commercial, office, industrial, everything.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Commercial real estate per square foot, higher or lower?
If interest rates go down, okay, rates are going to, rents will go up and occupancy will go up.
I think rents will go up just because the companies that run them, they do that. It's like it's in their business plan. It's how they operate.
Yeah.
Every year when I renew my rent, it's up. All right, we got a few minutes to finish up the rest. Let's will Bibi Netanyahu still be prime minister of Israel after the October elections?
Yes.
Yes?
I hope so.
No.
Well, you got an inside track on that.
It'll be Naftali Bennett. Which Trump nominees will resign or be fired in 2026?
That could be anybody.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't know.
Take a guess.
Well, it won't be Vance.
True.
I don't think it'll be RFK.
You had picked RFK last year.
I know, and I was completely wrong.
I like him. I like the way he thinks.
I like the fact that he can still do pull-ups.
All right.
I'll go with the press secretary.
Okay, so Levitt's gone. She's sort of an appointment.
Okay. Man, I'm
You
out.
say nobody?
I'm out. I don't know.
Okay.
Your thought?
I think Christy Nolan will be out. World's richest man, Elon Musk, still, or will it be somebody else?
I think it's going to be Musk still.
Musk was at $619 billion at the end of the year.
Isn't that incredible?
I think he's a runaway winner again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Will Iran nuke sites be hit again? We both said yes last year. What do we think about another strike on Iran's nuke sites?
I don't know that it'll happen this year because I don't know that they're going to be far enough along to make it worthwhile doing it.
Okay.
During the Trump presidency, I think yes. Afterwards, depending on who follows in, that's a different question.
Well, but we're just talking 2026.
Oh, 2026? Yeah, I think there's a good possibility.
All right. Trump and Musk still friends by the end of this next year? You know, they were kind of frenemies and friends. They had dinner the other night together.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. And
I'm going to say yes because I think Musk really has a fascination with Trump.
And I'll say the same. Trump and RFK still friends at the end of the year?
Yes.
Yes.
I say yes as well. Who will be Trump's biggest pain in the ass?
Ooh. You know?
I think it's going to be Rand Paul.
Rand Paul?
I think that, yeah, because I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, because he has aspirations, so yeah.
I say Marjorie Taylor Greene. Fed Chief Powell, in or out?
Out.
Out. We
not soon enough.
We picked him to be out last year, but I think this is going to be out. Okay. Will any new federal department be abolished or significantly moved? Eb?
Absolutely. Department of Education gone.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to get.
So
rid
it's a
of it.
continuation. So
Right.
really nothing new, but they'll finish
Right.
up the dismantling with the current. And no other agencies will be shuttered.
No, that's open.
I would love. I don't know.
I think it's open. I think there's a possibility, but which one it would be, it depends on. You know, there's just so many. That,
Okay, so you're a yes that another department will be significantly impacted.
What do you think? EPA gone?
Well, they're going in that direction, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't think coming into an election year, I don't think any other department's going to get closed down. What's the percentage of regulations that'll be dropped as a result of DOGE or acts of Congress or executive orders?
I think another 12%.
And this is a very, very difficult number to ascertain because there are some presidential changes and then there's some agency changes. This may be a question we really can't figure out just because of the different ways that aren't necessarily published and available. Okay, new question. Will the deficit be bigger or the same as last year?
Lower.
Lower?
I'd say about the same.
And I say higher. Will the Colombian leader be the next leader brought to justice in 2026?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Okay.
Take a stand.
No. Okay.
Bruce?
Pardon? Yes.
Okay.
China tariffs, increased or decreased?
Increased.
Well, I'm going to.
You're on the clock.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Decreased.
Okay. I'm going to say increased. Mexico tariff, higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower.
I say lower. Trump tax, okay, we got that one right last year. Number of deportations. We were way off on this. We said there would be 100,000 deportations. Eb said 100,000. I said 500,000. There have been 2.5 million self or legal deportations in 2025. Higher or lower in 2026?
I think it's going to be higher.
Higher for Eb?
Much higher.
and higher for Bruce. How many more self-deportations in 2026?
2 million.
2 million, says Ab.
I'll go with the same figure. I'm going to be conservative.
I'm going to say 750,000. New question. Ciscomani wins re-election. Ab?
Yes.
I think so.
And Bruce
Hope
says
so.
yes.
Yeah.
Grijalva win re-election.
Yes.
I hope not.
That's part of the No Kings plan.
I hope not. I'm going to say no just for the simple reason that she hasn't really shown anything. And I think a lot of people are going to go, hey, we've had enough Grijalvas.
All right. Well, I'm saying she will be reelected. Arizona governor's election. Who's going to be the winner?
Man, I don't know.
We're not here to say I don't know, Eb. We're here to make predictions.
Okay. Andy
Biggs?
Andy Biggs.
Well, we haven't actually got any nominations yet, but if he makes it, I would go with Biggs.
David Schweikert. Yes or no, does Prince William become king?
Yes.
So Eb says yes on William becoming the king.
Why not?
Yeah. Bunker says it's going to be William. Okay.
Charles isn't looking too good.
No, well, he actually was just sort of released from his treatments.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know why though, and he doesn't look that great. Ab, let's close up shop for today.
Okay, hang on. Where are we at? Before we close up shop, we're following some developing stories in South America and the Middle East for next week's show. Longtime State Department official Tom Price is going to join us January 14th, and on January 28th, a former IDF special operator joins us to discuss the battle, house-to-house, tunnel-to-tunnel battles with Hamas fighters and the aftermath of warfare on the warriors.
A very, very interesting show.
It's going to be fascinating. In February, we hope to add another of our noted authors series to discuss a new book about how the OSS used librarians and professors to win the intelligence war against the Axis powers.
Just confirmed, at least yesterday. It'll be a great, great show, I think.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us today. All of our Inside Track podcasts are available on Live the Dream Media's Facebook Live page, YouTube, Apple, and X. Until next week, this is Eb Wilkinson.
Bruce Ash.
Walker Defrance.
We hope to see you again in 167 hours.